Hey, what's going on? My name's Ash. Welcome to my channel, Saved by an Angel. In this video, I'm going to talk about, are you afraid to die? For the majority of my life, first 34 years, I would say the answer to that question was no. Prayed to Jesus every night, and I figured that would be enough to get me to where I wanted to go on the other side. And whenever I passed away, I would find myself, rolling down a grass hill with a Siberian tiger that didn't want to eat me. So I figured that was enough. And then in 2014, I attempted to take my life, and Archangel Michael appeared. 1 year later, after I quit my drinking bender, 9 months later, I started having visitations from Archangel Michael again and other angels, and then eventually Lucifer and even Jesus. And what this did was it gave me a greater insight to the afterlife, and I've also had multiple out-of-body experiences. One of the most shocking things that I've learned was on October 20th, 2020, when I had a visitation from Jesus, or Yeshua as I like to call him, when I was having a shower at my old man's place after work. Clear, invisible, buzzing energy just came up to me, and my skin started popping like popcorn. All of a sudden, unconditional love came over me. The next thing I knew, I had all these downloads and telepathic messages being exchanged. And one of the things that I learned was that just praying to Jesus and inviting him into your heart is not enough to get you into heaven. What I was shown was that we've become too fixated on the being himself, and we've completely forgot his teachings. And what do I mean by this? You can get Jesus tattooed on your forehead, go to church every single Sunday, and spread the word. But if you go onto the road and you get cut off and you're throwing up the middle finger and you're flipping you're flipping out and you're swearing at the top of your lungs and you're cursing this person out, you're totally bypassing the teachings of Jesus. And one thing that I've come to learn, sharing my experiences, it took me a long time to even open up about this kind of stuff, because I knew that there was going to be some people that just couldn't swallow it, right? And one thing I always find interesting is that there'll be sometimes some negative feedback will be coming from, people who love Jesus. And it's like, okay, if someone says something about Jesus that you don't agree with and you freak out about it, then you're forgetting about his teachings of love and compassion. Correct? So what I was shown was that love was the key. And this was the main message and the last message that Jesus left me with when his energy started pulling back away from me when I was having a shower. And so what this means is that if you have a heavy heart, when you pass away, you're either going to get sucked back into this life, or you're going to go somewhere, believe it or not, even worse. So for me, I can honestly say I'm a little more concerned about what's going to happen when I pass away, just because I've got issues many people on this planet aren't worried about. For instance, I remember being a soul before I incarnated, and I remember telling my guides and angels that I believed that this life path they were putting me on was a bad idea. And I was consoled and I was told, don't worry about it. You just got to open up your heart and be love. And yet in 2014, I attempted to take my life, and having a deeper understanding now of what would have happened to my soul, I see just how willing my guides and angels were to sacrifice my soul to go to a bad place. I look at my life as it was destined to, I honestly, it's funny because a lot of people will say, suicide's a weakness. And I say, you know what? The way I look at it, my attempt in 2014, I don't necessarily look at it as a weakness. Definitely not a right state of mind for sure. But the way I look at it is the majority of people on planet Earth, if they would have had my life, they would have committed suicide in 2000 or 2005. I feel like I outlasted what most people would have if they would have had my life. But with that being said, I hold a little bit of resentment, you could say, in my heart towards these beings. You know, I'm all about Team Light, pray to Jesus, Archangel Michael, my homie, right? But just because you have a couple issues with some of the, you know, if there's an army of 100,000 people and you're on that army and you have a problem with one of them, it doesn't mean you're against that army. It just means you have a couple issues. And that was one of the big things for me that was quite shocking to learn, was that not everything is fantasia on the other side. There's confrontations between angels, and there's screw ups, and there's, you know, consequences. So for me, you know, my goal every day is to pray to Jesus, and I ask him to help open up my heart as much as possible and try to relieve some of the things that I'm holding on to, because I know that opening up our heart in this incarnation is the most important thing that we can do. And, you know, there's a lot of people that end up going to a place that they weren't expecting because they invited Jesus into their heart, but yet they lived the complete opposite life. So that's all I got. It's important to open up your heart. Main message of this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to see more weird stuff, hit the subscribe and like. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.